For nearly 65 years, the Council for Economic Education has stayed true to an enduring mission: delivering economic education and financial literacy to K-12 students by educating the educators. 55,000 in 2012. With a broad national reach, the Council continues to set and encourage standards and requirements, plus provide hands-on learning resources, curriculum integration support, professional development, and assessment. They do this through ambitious national and state programs carried out by affiliates in every state. In Illinois, one such program is an excellent example of the breadth and impact of the Council's work. It started last year in the Chicago Public Schools, a vast and complex district of well over 100 schools. It was a unique partnership between public schools, private backing, and the Council for Economic Education. Together, they devised an ambitious plan to develop a course for high school seniors in personal finance.
Unless we have it embedded in the curriculum, we can't be sure that the people who need it will get it.
The key to its success? Great content and professional development. With the support of CEE affiliates in Illinois, economics PhD Helen Roberts led the initiative to properly train the teachers.
They started the course with that deer-in-the-headlights look. But at the end of the training, they feel empowered to teach the economics in the course.
I really enjoyed Helen being so knowledgeable, but also so kind of revved up and excited. It makes it so much easier.
The curriculum itself had to be relevant enough to engage the students, but had to be assembled quickly. Fortunately, CEE's resources fit the bill perfectly.
It's very important for students to connect with what they're learning. CEE, Council for Economic Education, has published several curriculum that pull these lessons together, some of the best, and we took from them.
Interactive content such as Gen I, the Council's free online game for financial learning, also helped to engage students.
The way that it's put together, they're able to feel like it's within their grasp and they're interested in trying it out.
So that's the thing that helped me learn the most, because we worked together, so it wasn't just like we sat there, looked at a book, read everything, answered questions.
Anything that makes students want to take a class is something that we really want to encourage.
I feel accomplished now that I actually use the class for a real life experience.
Students' knowledge and confidence increased in the pilot program, and the teachers want more.
We had students that represented themselves well, speak eloquently about financial literacy, which is all the endorsement that we need.
The program is on track to double the number of schools it reaches each year and spread to all 106 of Chicago's high schools in just 3 years.
It's actually doing what's right for students.
This is just one program. The Council for Economic Education continues to review and refresh its programs and activities to meet the evolving needs of our nation's teachers and students. Democracy will live if it works. Regardless of what democracy may do in the cultural and human relations area, if it fails on the economic front, it will most certainly go down in defeat. There is no kind of education more important than that which seeks to make the average American intelligent about our economic system and effective as a citizen in relation to it. Ernest O. Melby, Dean of the NYU School of Economics.
Our mission endures today and for the future, ensuring that America's children have the knowledge and skill to always find opportunity on our horizon line.
You may begin.
The excitement, the tension, the sacrifice, the commitment, the satisfaction at being the best in the nation. The 2013 National Economics Challenge was the most exciting, most successful challenge yet.
140.
Competing for the chance to be crowned national champions, more than 10,000 students participated this year. That's 2,700 teams from 40 states. The largest participation ever in the 13-year history of the national event.
We're very competitive, and so I think that the economics challenge, just pitting us against someone else, is really it is a good motivator.
I can tell you this, that the economics challenge for me has been the single most important thing that helps me attract students to economics.
The 40 state champions competed for the top 4 slots in 2 divisions. The David Ricardo division for students enrolled in no more than 1 semester of general economics courses, and the Adam Smith division for students enrolled in advanced courses in economics. The top 8 teams get an all-expense-paid trip to New York to compete in the semifinals.
We're super excited to make it to New York.
How can you complain about an all-expense-paid trip to New York? I mean, that's pretty great.
It's a little different than Little Falls, Minnesota. Population 9,000.
Welcome to the 13th Annual National Economics Challenge.
Vying for the chance to go head-to-head for the championship.
There's certainly a lot of excitement in the room. These kids take it seriously, and they definitely get a little wound up in getting to be the best.
Each round will last 20 minutes, 15 questions.
The tests that we took today were quite difficult. You know, some things we knew, some things I had never seen before.
This year, in the David Ricardo division, it was a rematch. Minnesota's Little Falls Community High School versus Indiana's CARMEL High School. Back in 2012, Little Falls dominated.
$1.
That is correct.
And Little Falls just knew the oral Jeopardy extremely well.
Diminishing marginal returns, Sims and Sargent contract the money supply and increase interest rates.
That is correct.
It was bad, and we're coming back for revenge.
Last year's final score, 15-4.
I think we're stronger than last year's team, and so I think we have a good shot. I'm gonna give a run for the money.
I'm thrilled to be here with all of our top teams.
This year in the final Quiz Bowl, played live at WNET Studios in Manhattan, CARMEL showed early on they got game.
The name of the chairman of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors directly before Ben Bernanke.
Alan Greenspan.
That is correct.
The competition was tight all the way to the final questions.
Laffer.
The Big Mac Index.
Robert Barron's.
Increased taxes and decreased spending.
1913 and 12.
Trade.
That is correct.
But Little Falls showed why they were the defending champions.
Congratulations, you're the champions of the David Ricardo division.
It was a lot closer this year. It was a lot more exciting, I bet, for the audience, so it was good.
The second final round brought together the 2 teams from the Adam Smith division, Connecticut's Choate Rosemary Hall and Hawaii's Iolani School.
We're feeling really nervous.
The contest started off rocky.
Score remained 0-0.
Then, Choate caught fire and led the score for the first half of the game. But nearly 20 minutes into the competition, Hawaii's Iolani caught a wave and narrowly surged ahead.
The velocity of money.
That is correct.
Keeping the lead until the final win at 12-10.
Congratulations, you are the national champions in the Adam Smith.
So this year, 8 finalists made it to New York and were awarded trophies for excellence in economics. And 2 schools have bragging rights as 2013's National Economics Champions. Little Falls High School of Little Falls, Minnesota, and the Iolani School of Honolulu, Hawaii. The 2014 Economics Challenge is just around the corner. Are you ready?
Hi, my name is Mr. Clark from BELLAIRE High School. This year, many of the students remind me of members of our Houston Rockets.
I'm Jin Chen. Mr. Clark is always comparing me to Jeremy Lin. However, Houston is starting to experience diminishing marginal utility from his stay here. At least he can still shoot a 3-pointer as well as me.
Next question. The wife of John Maynard Keynes was Lydia Lopakova, a Russian ballerina. Another slam dunk for Superman! My name's Patrick Chardet, and I'm going to Rice University.
I'm Rich. Mr. Clark's always comparing me to James Harden. I'll look a lot more like him if the school would let me grow my facial hair out. Oh yeah!
I sure wish our 4th member was here, Laura Zhang. The reason that she isn't here, she's at the Business Professionals of America conference where she's been nominated for Best Dressed.
We're in. I don't know why
this isn't working.
Get in the car, quick! Good work, team. Now we can start studying.
Since we found out we qualified for the national competition, we've ramped up our exercises considerably.
200. Federal funds rate 0.25%.
The Federal Reserve was created in 1913.
The deepest part of the ocean in the Western Pacific is the Mariana Trench at 36,000 feet.
1.62 Kazakhstani per Icelandic krona.
CARMEL's coming for you!
Nando. Ash Nando.
Daniel Bloomer. I can say one nice thing about Karl Marx. He was not a Keynesian.
Bill, the Dominator Caraway.
I'm Animash. You know what they say.
To aggregate demand, GRISSOM High School, Huntsville, Alabama. Econ Challenge welcomes you.
Hi, my name is Douglas, and I love the stock market and European banking.
Hi, my name is Axel, and I'm really interested in mathematical models of real life, such as those found in economics.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Litt, and I love how economics ties into current events and helps better my own understanding of it. And we're the Hunter College High School economics team.
Aloha, we're from Iolani School in beautiful Honolulu, Hawaii. Welcome to our economics classroom, where we learn from our teacher, Colonel Rankin.
We really love econ.
Hi, I'm Matt. When I'm not studying economics, I like hiking or coming to the beach to relax.
Hi, I'm Kenneth Lee. I like economics because it's the key to unlocking and understanding the world around us.
Hi, I'm Evan, and I like driving.
Hi, I'm Logan, and
I enjoy economics because it's fun and expands my horizons.
Aloha! See you in New York.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah?
What is opportunity cost?
Blake, it's in the packet.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Vanessa, how many times does FOMC meet a year?
Blake, it's in the packet.
Fine, I'm looking here. 8, okay. Hey, Jessica.
Yeah?
Do you want to go to prom with me?
Blake, it's in the packet.
Oh.
Michael Cahill, coach, the Souderton Area High School David Ricardo All-American champions, +1 Canadian.
Connor Walsh, macroeconomics, CU.
Tyler DePietro, microeconomics, Penn State University.
Rick Ausler, international, University of Maryland, University College, University.
Riley Nassiger, current economic events, The Ohio State University.
Welcome to the 14th Annual National Economics Challenge. Today, the top students from across the nation will compete, testing their economic literacy and their split-second decision-making skills. More than 10,500 high school students across America competed, representing 40 states. 8 teams in 2 divisions made it to the semifinals and scored a trip to New York City. In the David Ricardo division, with students enrolled in no more than 1 semester of general economics courses, it's a battle between CARMEL High School of Carmel, Indiana, Hunter College High School of New York, New York, Little Falls Community High School of Little Falls, Minnesota, and SOUDERTON Area High School of Souderton, Pennsylvania. In the Adam Smith division, with students who have taken more than 1 semester of economics or are enrolled in advanced courses in economics, it's a fight to the finish between BELLAIRE High School of BELLAIRE, Texas, CARMEL High School of Carmel, Indiana, Ilani School of Honolulu, Hawaii, and VIRGIL GRISSOM High School of Huntsville, Alabama.
Welcome to the 2014 National Economics Challenge.
Yesterday, in the semifinals, the 8 teams were whittled down to 4, who will compete today in the 2 final rounds. And now, the Council for Economic Education and State Farm Insurance bring you the brightest young economics minds in America, hoping to be crowned National Economics Challenge champions. Live from WNET Studios in New York City, it's the 14th Annual National Economics Challenge.
Welcome. I'm Susan Lesovich, coming to you live from the Tisch WNET Studios here in the heart of Manhattan for the 14th Annual National Economics Challenge Finals. This is the only national competition that fosters interest and rewards intellect among high school students of economics. As you can see and as you can hear, we're here before a live audience where our students are preparing for some fierce competition. In just a few minutes, you'll meet the nation's brightest students as they compete vigorously for the title of national champion in one of 2 divisions. The Council for Economic Education is the host of the challenge. It's also the nation's leading organization in the country that focuses on the economic and financial education of students from kindergarten through high school. It not only wants to ensure that these concepts are taught, but that these concepts stick. And please join me in thanking our sponsor yet again for this year's program, State Farm. We're truly grateful to its support and dedication fostering economic literacy. For you at home, participate on Twitter. Hashtag is EconChallenge. Let us know which team you're rooting for. We'll be watching and maybe we'll post some of your tweets live. Also head to CEE's Facebook page. There you can look at the video profiles of each of our 8 student teams submitted and vote on your favorite. We're starting today's finals with the top 2 teams from the David Ricardo division, which includes students who are studying at the introductory economics level. In just a few minutes, the competition will begin. So who better to introduce our first round of finalists than the teams themselves? Roll the videos.
Econ Challenge welcomes you.
Hi, my name is Douglas, and I love the stock market and European banking.
Hi, my name is Axel, and I'm really interested in mathematical models of real life, such as those found in economics.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Litt, and I love how economics ties into current events and helps better my own understanding of it.
And
we're the Hunter College High School economics team.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah?
What is opportunity cost?
Blake, it's in the packet.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Vanessa, how many times does FOMC meet a year?
Blake, it's in the packet.
Fine, I'm looking here. 8, okay. Hey, Jessica.
Yeah?
Do you want to go to prom with me?
Blake, it's in the packet.
Oh.
They
are smart, they're articulate, and they're funny, too. Now I'd like to turn it over to Nan Morrison, the president and CEO of the Council for Economic Education, to start the first exciting round. Nan.
Thanks, Susan. And good afternoon, everyone. Weren't those videos just great? I think they're one of my favorite parts, seeing those every year. So welcome to our 14th annual National Economics Challenge competition. The Council for Economic Education undertakes this competition because it's a big world out there, and economics and personal finance provide the fundamental skills for surviving and thriving in it. We want all of you to be able to navigate the world with confidence and optimism. So in order to do that, we want you to be able to steward your own resources and have the skill and knowledge to do that. The economy is always going to have its ups and downs. It's always going to be full of events that are going to happen to you, but with knowledge and skill, you'll have the chance to happen right back at it. So now, let's get started. And we'll start with the David Ricardo division. Today, you're going to watch the two top teams in each division compete in the national finals. But first, I wanted to congratulate the third and fourth place winners in this David Ricardo division. So first, congratulations to the third place winner in the David Ricardo division, Carmel High School from Carmel, Indiana. And also, please join me in congratulating the fourth place winning team in this division, the SOUDERTON Area High School from Pennsylvania. And now I'm pleased to introduce the judges for the Quiz Bowl round. Tawny Ferrarini is the Sam Kohoutis Professor of Economics and Director of the Center for Economic Education and Entrepreneurship at Northern Michigan University in Marquette, Michigan. It's cold up there in the UP. Ken Reback is an Associate Professor of Economics at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota and is also a Research Associate at the National Center for Research and Economic Education. Steve Buckles currently teaches economics at Vanderbilt University and is also one of our and my senior advisors. And Chris Caltabiano is CE's Vice President for Programs, and he'll be keeping score. Our judges today are responsible for confirming our contestants' responses, keeping score, and time, and they will have the final say on the accuracy of every answer. Now, we've already reviewed the rules with the contestants. However, if you're watching at home or new here to us, in the audience, here are a few highlights for you. So team members can buzz in any time while a question is being read. However, if they or you buzz in before the question is answered, I'm going to stop reading the question. You can't confer, and within 5 seconds, only the person who buzzed in may answer based solely on the information she's heard or he has heard up until that point. If a team member buzzes in after the entire question is read, he or she has 15 seconds to confer, and you make the response. Now, audience members, I encourage you to all to root for your favorite team or player, but please don't shout out any answers. I know we have some really smart folks in the crowd, but please also please refrain, and please also show your support at home using #CEE. So, let's begin. First, we have Hunter College High School, and I'm going to ask the teams to introduce yourselves. Starting at the far end, I'd like each of you to test your hand buzzer one at a time and state your name. Please be sure to speak loud and clear. So we're going to start down there with Axel.
Hi, my name is Axel Feldman, and I'm an amateur potato farmer.
Hi, my name is Jonathan, and I run a political action committee called the Center for Levantine Advanced Studies and Policies.
Hi, my name is Douglas Wong, and I run Hunter's Poker Club.
We'll be getting some advice from you later. And moving to the left, Little Falls High School.
Hi, I'm Jessica DURFEE, and I enjoy playing tennis.
Hi, I'm Vanessa MESCHKE, and I like to water ski.
Hi, my name is Jack Schulte, and I like to play hockey.
Hello, my name is Blake TOSO, and I enjoy playing soccer.
Excellent. Well, a really diverse group of interests from all of our contestants. So is everybody ready? Okay, here we go. First question. Are the judges ready? Just checking with you guys. Okay. Okay. Question number 1. Holding all else constant, what will happen to the price and quantity sold of a good if there is an increase in the supply?
Little Falls, you
Have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Price will decrease, quantity will increase.
That is incorrect. Will you please read the entire question for our other team?
Sure. Holding all else constant, what will happen to the price and quantity sold of a good if there is an increase in the supply of a substitute for that good?
Hunter College High School, you have 15 seconds.
Substitute, right? Yeah. Therefore, more people buy the substitute. Quantity demanded will decrease. Price will. So demand's going down, right? So that means price would decrease.
Quantity decrease.
Price would decrease.
And quantity
decrease. Price would decrease. Quantity would decrease.
That is correct.
The score is now Hunter College 1, Little Falls 0.
On to question 2. The establishment of prices for goods, services, and resources, allowing for comparison pricing, choice, and competition, describes which
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Perfectly competitive market.
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question for the other team.
The establishment of prices for goods, services, and resources, allowing for comparison pricing, choice, and competition, describes which function of money?
You have 15 seconds.
Measure of value?
That is incorrect. Unit of account is the correct answer.
And we go to question 3. From its peak before the 2007 to 2009, from its peak before the 2007 to 2009 recession to its low afterwards, by how much in terms of percent did the Dow Jones Industrial Average fall?
Little Falls, you have 15 seconds.
%?
That is incorrect.
You have 15 seconds.
Dude, high was
16%?
20%? 15, 20.
15 sounds nice.
20, because it was
11,000. 20% decrease.
That is incorrect. The correct answer is 50%.
Score remains 1-0.
Times were tough.
Learn something new every day.
Question number 4, sole proprietorships, partnerships, corporations. Which type of business structure makes up over 2/3?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Sole proprietorship?
That is the correct answer. Would you like to read the entire answer for our question for our audience?
Sole proprietorships, partnerships, corporations. Which type of business structure makes up over 2/3 of all firms in the United States?
Score is now tied 1-1.
We now have a very special question. This question will be asked via video by a very special guest, Janet Yellen, the chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. John, roll the video.
Name the Federal Reserve report in which each Federal Reserve bank gets...
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Beige book?
That is the correct answer. Please play the entire question, and then let's hear Dr. Yellen's answer.
Name the Federal Reserve report in which each Federal Reserve bank gathers anecdotal information on the current economic conditions in its district through reports from bank and branch directors and other key sources.
And John, how about the answer?
The beige book, or...
Okay, on to question 6. The price of a consumer...
Or the summary of commentary on current economic conditions by Federal Reserve District is the report that includes anecdotal information on current economic conditions in each district.
Hunter has 2, Little Falls 1. Please read the next question.
Technology, children, and animals are always hard to deal with in live situations. The price of a consumer good will tend to increase when there is more competition among whom?
Little Falls, you have 15 seconds.
Buyers.
That is correct.
Score is now 2-2.
It's a close one. Question 7. Name the 2 primary U.S. government agencies given the task of enforcing antitrust laws.
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds. You may not confer.
No answer.
Okay, would you read the entire question for our other team?
Name the 2 primary U.S. government agencies given the task of enforcing antitrust laws.
You have 15 seconds.
Justice Department.
SEC.
SEC or FDIC or FEC or
FTC.
Federal Trade Commission,
yeah.
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
The FTC
Yeah.
and the
Justice.
Justice Department. The U.S. Justice Department and the FTC.
That is correct.
Score is now 3 for Hunter College High School and 2 for Little Falls.
Number 8. Off, deficit, barriers, voluntary. What word often precedes or follows each?
Hunter, you have 15 seconds.
Spending.
Barrier.
Off spending.
Trade or spend?
Proceeds,
I thought it was entry. Oh, trade off. That makes sense. Trade.
Yeah.
Entry.
Trade. Let's go trade.
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 That is correct.
Hunter College now has 4, Little Falls 2. Next question.
Number 9. What is the one-word term used to describe the act of businesses in one country selling a good?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds, and you may not confer.
Short selling.
That is incorrect.
The whole question. What is the one-word term used to describe the act of businesses in one country selling a good to buyers in another country for a price that is lower than the per-unit cost of production?
You have 15 seconds.
It's an export.
No, low.
What else would sell you country?
Exporter.
I think you're just giving a bunch of exporter.
That is incorrect. The correct answer is dumping.
Score remains 4-2 Hunter.
And for question 10, we have another video question from Chair Yellen. John?
Using the numbers 7, 4, and 1 in your answer, who are the voting members of the Federal Open Market Committee?
Hunter, you have 15 seconds.
Oh, it's at the end. Okay. Chairwoman is one.
7 governors.
7 govs.
No.
Wait, that's
7 presidents. 7 presidents. 4
voting-
governors.
4 governors with
1
voting
chairman.
powers.
1 chairman.
Voting. 1 chairman. 7 presidents, 4 governors, 1 chairwoman, 1 chairperson.
Would you repeat your answer, please?
7 presidents, 4 governors, and 1 chairperson.
That is incorrect.
Please repeat the question, and Little Falls, you have 15 seconds.
Can you roll that again, John?
Using the numbers 7, 4, and 1 in your answer, who are the voting members of the Federal Open Market Committee?
7 governors, 4 presidents, and 1 chairperson.
That is correct. Okay, let's hear Dr. Yellen's answer.
Though all 12 Reserve Bank presidents and the board members participate in FOMC meetings, the voting members are the 7 governors or members of the Federal Reserve Board, 4 Federal Reserve District Bank presidents, and 1 New York Federal Reserve District Bank president.
The score is now Hunter College High School 4, Little Falls High School 3. We are 10 questions in.
Starting off with question 11. By what percentage did real GDP fall in the U.S. during the most recent recession?
Little Falls, you have 15 seconds.
It's time.
10%.
That is incorrect.
Hunter, you have 15 seconds.
Close 5 to 15. Let's go with the upper bound, 15. Yeah, wait, are you kidding?
15 would be catastrophic.
Oh, you're right.
Also asked about chairperson.
5%.
That is also incorrect. It was between 4 and 4.5%, to be exact, 4.3%.
We would like to ask a question about concerning the previous video question.
Yes?
We believe the other teams stated chairperson instead of vice president of the Bank of New York.
Or president.
President.
Okay, let us confer, please. Let's throw out the question.
Which question are we throwing out?
The
10.
one prior to
10.
this one? Question 10.
So I need to adjust the score.
Take one away from them.
Little Falls.
Okay, 4-2. Thank you.
So Chris, could you report the score when you're done
Yes,
doing that?
we are eliminating the previous question. So the score reverts to 4 for Hunter College High School and 2 for Little Falls High School.
Good job on speaking up. It's important in life. A shift in what curve and in which direction would lead to an increase in price and a decrease?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
A demand shift left?
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question.
A shift in what curve and in which direction would lead to an increase in price and a decrease in equilibrium quantity?
You have 15 seconds.
Supply to the left. Yep. So what did I say? I just said supply to the left. A shift in the supply curve to the left.
That is correct.
Okay, the score is now 5 for Hunter College High School and 2 for Little Falls.
Question 13, more shifting. What exists when an activity causes some who have nothing directly to do with the activity to benefit?
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Black market.
That is incorrect. Would you read the entire question for our other team?
What exists when an activity causes some who have nothing directly to do with the activity to benefit?
You have 15 seconds.
Positive externality.
That is correct.
Okay, the score is now Hunter College High School 5, Little Falls 3.
Okay, question number 14. Got some numbers in this one. Suppose that the gross private domestic investment is $3 trillion. You don't have to write all the zeros. Government spending is $5 trillion. Private savings is $4 trillion. Consumption is $11 trillion. What is disposable income?
Little Falls, you have 15 seconds.
Time is up. We need your answer.
15 trillion.
That is correct.
Okay, we are now at 5-4. Hunter is leading by 1.
And it's close. It's a close one. Question number 15. What was the last year the U.S. experienced a trade?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and may not confirm. Confer.
2001.
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question for our other team.
What was the last year that the U.S. experienced a trade surplus?
You have 15 seconds.
Let's see, Bill Clinton's at 92.
But this is trade surplus.
Yeah.
It's not 2003.
That's not
Iraq.
right.
Oh, no.
Wait,
not
no.
Iraq.
No, that would be imports.
1998.
98?
1998. No.
Time is up. We need your answer.
1998.
That is incorrect. 1975.
Score remains 5-4.
That was a really long time ago. I was younger than you guys then. Or, Question 16. Historically, what has been responsible for fueling long-run inflation?
Little Falls, you have 15 seconds.
Increases in the money supply.
That is correct.
We have a tie score, 5-5.
My goodness, coming down to the home stretch here. The 2000-2001 fiscal stimulus packages changed taxes and spending in which direction?
Little Falls, you have 15 seconds.
They increase taxes and decrease spending.
Will you say that again?
Increase taxes, decrease spending.
That is incorrect.
Decrease taxes, what do we do with spending?
You have 15 seconds.
Yes. Okay. Go.
Decrease in taxes, increase in spending.
That is correct.
I have to say, the intensity of the debate on this team is very high.
And it's given them a 6-5 lead at this point.
There you go. Not that these guys aren't working hard, but I can just hear it. Okay, number 18. From which country did the U.S. import the most crude oil in 20?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Saudi Arabia.
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question.
From which country did the U.S. import the most crude oil in 2013?
You have 15 seconds.
Canada.
That is correct.
Our neighbors to the nearby north.
Score is now 7-5. Hunter's leading.
Number 19. Borrowing is one way a nation can pay for imports. Name 2 others.
Little Falls, you have 15 seconds.
Time is up. We need your answer.
Increase taxes and create tariffs.
That answer is incorrect.
You have 15 seconds.
To increase imports, right? They decrease tariffs, right? And then they'll make our money.
How do they pay for it?
Then there'll be increased taxes to decrease spending.
No.
Then you have more.
Time is up. We need your answer.
Increase taxes, decrease spending.
That is also incorrect. It's exporting and saving.
Score remains Hunter 7, Little Falls 5.
I know this is econ and not personal finance, but the saving thing is really important. Okay, question number 20. What is the term used to describe a market with only one buyer?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Monopsony.
That is correct.
Okay, the score
word
is
that I half got out was buyer.
Yeah.
the score is now 7 for Hunter, 6 for Little Falls. Into question 21.
Staying close. What do economists call the benefits promised to future Medicare and Social Security?
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Transfer payments.
That is incorrect. We read the entire question.
What do economists call the benefits promised to future Medicare and Social Security recipients that are not presently covered by taxes and trust fund balances?
You have 15 seconds.
Entitlements.
That is incorrect. Unfunded liabilities.
Score remains 7-6 with 9 questions remaining.
Question 22. It's a long one. Be prepared to listen. An initial change in total spending in an economy will have the smallest overall short-run effect on total spending if imports are a small or large portion of consumption.
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Small.
And that is incorrect. Please read the entire question carefully.
An initial change in total spending in an economy will have the smallest overall short-run effect on total spending if imports are a small or large portion of consumption, saving is a high or low percentage of income, and government spending on unemployment compensation is a large or small percentage of government spending.
You have 15 seconds.
Imports is high. Savings.
Time is up. We'll need your answer.
Imports are a large portion, saving is a large portion, and government spending is a small portion.
Incorrect. You just had the last one wrong. It should be that government spending on unemployment is a large percentage of government spending. Well done, though.
Score remains 7-6. 8 questions remaining.
I call these guys the quiet conferrers. It's kind of the difference between Minnesota, the Midwest, and New York. Okay, question 23. What is the name of the situation in which employers agree to only hire union workers?
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Close shop.
Correct.
Okay, we are at 8 Hunter, 6 Little Falls, with 7 questions remaining.
Question 24. As state economies recover from a recession, what should we expect to happen to their budgets, holding spending?
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Their budgets should decrease?
Incorrect. Please read the entire question.
As state economies recover from a recession, what should we expect to happen to their budgets, holding spending constant?
You have 15 seconds.
Time is up. We need your answer.
They would need to balance their budgets.
That is also incorrect. They will move toward budget surpluses.
The score is now 8-6.
Question 25. What do you divide interest and dividends by to calculate a bond's current?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Shares outstanding?
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question.
What do you divide interest and dividends by to calculate a bond's current yield?
You have 15 seconds.
Maturity.
That's incorrect. It's the bond's price.
Okay, score is 8-6. It's a 2-point differential with 5 questions to go.
When is the last year the U.S. experienced a federal budget?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
2001.
That is correct, and that is when the last time we had a budget surplus.
Sorry, it's hard not to chuckle at that one. It's a long time ago.
8-7. Hunter is ahead by 1.
4 questions to go, and it's a close race. The price of my favorite goods complement increases at the same time prices of inputs used to produce my favorite good increase. What will happen to the equilibrium quantity and price?
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Change in quantity is ambiguous. Change in price, change in price goes is ambiguous, and quantity increases.
That is incorrect. Do you want to read the entire question?
Judges say yes. The price of my favorite goods complement increases at the same time prices of inputs used to produce my favorite good increase. What will happen to the equilibrium quantity and price of my favorite good?
You have 15 seconds.
Quantity decreases and the change in price is ambiguous.
That is correct.
We have a tie score at 8-8 with 3 questions to go.
All right. Everybody take a deep breath. Focus. Okay. Consumption and investment are what approximate percentages of current U.S. GDP?
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and you may not confer.
Consumption is 70% and investment is 10%?
That is incorrect.
I didn't get...
You have 15 seconds.
biggest government I know is around 65 and 15.
Consumption makes up 65% of the GDP. Investment makes up 15% of GDP.
That is correct. And with 2 questions to go, Chris, what's the score?
The score is 9-8 with 2 questions to go.
Okay. No shouting out from the economists in the room. What branch of economics looks toward disciplines like psychology to explain why people don't always behave in a seeming...
Little Falls, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Behavioral economics?
That is correct. And the entire question was, what branch of economics looks toward disciplines like psychology to explain why people don't always behave in a seemingly rational manner?
9-9. No pressure. 1 question to go.
Okay. I better get ready to read this one well. Okay, question 30. What strategy is defined as selling a product to different customers at different price?
Hunter, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Price discrimination.
That is correct. Please read the entire question.
What strategy is defined as selling a product to different customers at different prices when the price difference is not due to cost differences?
And congratulations, Hunter College High School. You are the national champions of the David Ricardo division.
Well, congratulations to both teams. This is about as close as it can get, and I know we all worked really hard to get here, and it was a really, really good round. These were really tough questions, I have to say. So congratulations to Hunter and, of course, to Little Falls. We're going to give you guys your trophies and your awards later at the conclusion of our program. I'd like to ask for another round of applause, and then we're going to go over to Susan.
What an amazing competition. 30 questions, a tie score going into the final question. We'll be talking with the Adam Ricardo division champs from Hunter College High School in just a moment. And then, of course, we have the Adam Smith division taking place just in a few minutes. But first, let's take a look at what the Council for Economic Education discovered about the current state of economics in the U.S.
I'm saving up money right now to eventually buy a car.
Saving up for school when I'm older.
Everybody has that dream of like having a house, a car, a family. That costs a lot of money.
I just really want to be able to stand out there, keep my family safe, be very stable.
If you don't have a financial plan, you can't plan your future out.
I mean, I'm 17 now, I'll be 18, so, I'll be out the house and trying to live my own life. So, it's very important that you learn how to balance a checkbook, you know, and how to manage your field of life so that way you can know how to live when you get older.
I think it is important to learn finances when you're young, because then when you grow up, it'll be way easier to go out and say, today I think I'll make some money by investing.
People think that teenagers don't really need to understand, but like I can vote like next year in the next election.
You learn how to navigate your money. You learn how to spend your money, and you learn how to save your money.
I save a lot more now. I realize what I want and what I need are two completely different things, and I only focus on what I need at that moment.
We're learning about opportunity costs and just like how I'm gonna spend a free period. Do I watch TV on Netflix or do I do my homework? Like, that's a big issue, and most kids don't like realize that that's an economic principle.
Economics means to me like the power to control my own finances.
Sometimes you have to be a risk taker. Sometimes you gotta invest your money into something. Sometimes that's how you kind of find yourself.
Economics is just something that makes sense. You can take these principles and you can apply them to real life, and you can say, well, this is how it's affecting these people here, and you can just see all the connections.
You learned at a younger age, so then it will like travel with you, and then you'll be able to balance everything when you get older.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce the David Ricardo Division Champs from Hunter College High School. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That was one intense competition. What was the scariest moment when you thought it was all slipping away?
The last question.
The last question, the very last question, because it was a tie score. And that question had to do with price discrimination?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you think it all paid off? All that studying paid off?
Definitely.
You had some vigorous huddles there when you had 15 seconds. Was it a team decision, or is there one dominant personality, would you say?
I mean, it's very team-based. We're all in a history bowl together, which is like an academic quiz-based competition where we have to work together as a team. So like we all know each other. We all like, you know, we're all happy and free to voice our opinions, voice what we think the answers are, and then we take that all into consideration.
But just to make sure, you have your mascot, the gray armadillo from Texas, no less. Just as your lucky charm?
Actually from team BELLAIRE, who's on right now.
Very nice, very nice. Well, that's very generous. How did it feel to have Janet Yellen actually asking you some questions?
It was very exciting, definitely very exciting.
Yeah, and did you know all of your FOMC questions?
We didn't know the second one.
Yeah, we knew one of them.
You're going to have to remind the chairperson next time you meet her. Coach, tell us about what your strategy was in getting this far.
I think, first of all, just the sheer interest that this team, and they do vigorously practice as vigorously as you saw today, was key. And I think we just, you know, worked together to sort of think through issues, think through implications of different possibilities, and combine the different disciplines that these students were naturally interested in.
Well done. Well done. How many of you plan to study economics in college?
I'm kind of between economics and actually engineering, so hopefully I can find like a dual program.
A dual program and get a job, right?
Yeah.
That's like a good plan. Well, congratulations again. Hunter College High School, right here in New York. I guess it was just maybe a subway stop away, right? Across town?
Yeah.
Congratulations. We'll be talking to you later. And now that we have met the winners of the David Ricardo division, it's time to go to the more advanced round, the Adam Smith. So let's have those finalists introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Mr. Clark from BELLAIRE High School. This year, many of the students remind me of members of our Houston Rockets.
I'm Jin Chen. Mr. Clark is always comparing me to Jeremy Lin. However, Houston is starting to experience diminishing marginal utility from his stay here. At least he can still shoot a three-pointer as well as me.
Next question. The life of John Maynard Keynes was Lydia Lopakova, a Russian ballerina. Another slam dunk for Superman! My name is Patrick Charaday, and I'm going to Rice University.
I'm Rich. Mr. Clark's always comparing me to James Harden. I'll look a lot more like him. The school would let me grow my facial hair out. Oh yeah!
Sure wish our fourth member was here, Laura Zhang. The reason she isn't here, she's at the Business Professionals of America conference where she's been nominated for Best Dressed.
We're in. I don't know why this isn't working. Get in the car, quick. Good work, team. Now we can start studying.
Studying economics never looked like so much fun. For our viewers at home, don't forget to tweet. The hashtag is EconChallenge and go on CEE's Facebook page and vote for your favorite tune. Now, let's go back to CEE's CEO, Nan Morrison.
Thanks, Susan, and congrats again to our hometown team for winning the last division. We're thrilled to have a special guest with us today to host our Adam Smith round. It's Steve Leisman, CNBC's ever-direct and ever-humorous senior economics reporter. You've probably seen him on Squawk Box. He has won an Emmy and a Pulitzer. But one of his bio points that you might all find fascinating is that he's a big deadhead and plays guitar in a cover band called the Moon Cussers. So now you know that you can do economics and still rock out. So Steve, I pass the econ baton for you, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Nan. I was offered to do this gig with my guitar, but nobody really wanted it. It didn't really work out too well. I'm really honored to be here and want to lend my support to the great things being done by the Council for Economic Education. I'm really proud to be a part of that good work. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Adam Smith Division of the National Finals Quiz Bowls Round. The Adam Smith Division includes teams of students enrolled in the toughest classes: Advanced Placement, International Baccalaureate, and honors classes. First, I'd like to congratulate the third and fourth place winners of the Adam Smith Division, who yesterday competed in a series of exams. So congratulations to third place winner in the Adam Smith Division, Iolani High School from Honolulu, Hawaii. Nice. And congratulations to the fourth place winner in the Adam Smith Division, Grissom High School, Huntsville, Alabama. All right, you've met our judges and gone over the rules, so let's get to it. For today's Adam Smith National Finals Quiz Bowl Round, our teams are on my right, BELLAIRE High School. Why don't you introduce yourself, make sure your buzzer works. Tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Patrick Sheriday, and I really like playing Guitar Hero.
My name's Ridgelu, and I like to spin pens.
My name is Laura Zhang, and I like to bake.
My name is Jin Chen, and I go hiking a lot.
Thanks. Right here.
My name is William Chen. I hold a second degree black belt in martial arts.
My name is Joe Filio, and I'm the 2016 class president.
My name is Zach Schleich, and I enjoy swimming.
My name is Christine Wang, and I like to fold origami.
Okay, I think that's it. Just want to tell you what if there's a tie here, there's going to be a bonus question. There's actually two bonus questions. One is, who is your favorite economics reporter on television? And the other is, what is your favorite financial station? So you can think about those, and I fully expect the competition to end. That's correct, right, Tony?
That is correct.
That's the right questions we're going to have. All right, you guys ready? Let's do this. Question number one. Prior to the 16-week government shutdown and debt ceiling fights of 2013, when was the last government shutdown?
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
2012.
That is incorrect.
You have 15 seconds.
1995.
That is correct.
1 point for BELLAIRE, so it's 1-0.
Moving on to the second question. If a good is an inferior good sold in a competitive market, what will happen to its equilibrium price if incomes of buyers decrease?
Carmel, you have 15 seconds.
Price will increase?
That is correct.
Okay, 1-1.
Question three. How do economists label expenditures on education, job training, seminars?
Carmel, you have 5 seconds. You may not confer.
Spending on human capital.
Yes, that is correct. Would you read the entire question, please?
Yes. How do economists label expenditures on education, job training, seminars in medical care, and professional development workshops?
And Carmel now leads 2-1. Please read the next question.
Question 4. A profit-maximizing, monopolistically competitive firm has a standard cost structure and is in a long-run equilibrium. At what level of output, what is the relationship, at that level of output, what is the relationship between marginal and average?
BELLAIRE, you have 5 seconds, and you may not confer.
Marginal cost is below average total cost.
That is correct.
Do you want me to read the question again? A profit-maximizing, monopolistically competitive firm has a standard cost structure and is in a long-run equilibrium. At that level of output, what is the relationship between marginal and average costs?
And we are tied 2-2.
Okay.
The next question will be asked via video by a special guest, Janet Yellen, the chair of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System.
Name the legislation that created the modern configuration of the Federal Open Market.
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
The Federal Reserve Act of 1913.
That is incorrect. Please play the entire question.
Name the legislation that created the modern configuration of the Federal Open Market Committee.
You have 15 seconds.
The priorities, it's the Employment Act of
1946.
Employment Act.
That is incorrect. Let's hear Dr. Yellen's answer.
The Banking Act of 1935 created the modern configuration of the Federal Open Market Committee.
Moving on to question 6. When a firm earns a normal profit or zero economic profit, what specifically do accounting profits equal?
Carmel, you have 15 seconds.
Implicit cost.
That is correct.
Score is now Carmel 3, BELLAIRE 2.
Question 7. What were the U.S. rates of unemployment at the peak following the
BELLAIRE, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
10%.
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question.
What were the U.S. rates of unemployment at the peak following the most recent recession and now?
You have 15 seconds.
10 and 6.3.
That is correct.
Score is now Carmel 4, BELLAIRE 2.
Question 8. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, Hong Kong dollar, New Zealand dollar. Which of these currencies is currently pegged to?
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
New Zealand dollar.
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question.
Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, Hong Kong dollar, New Zealand dollar. Which of these currencies is currently pegged to the U.S. dollar?
You have 15 seconds.
Hong Kong dollar.
That is correct.
Score is now Carmel 4, BELLAIRE 3.
Question 9. What type of returns to scale exist when a firm's long-run average cost curve is upward sloping?
Carmel, you have 15 seconds.
We have 15 seconds, you said?
No, it's returns to scale, diminishing marginal returns to scale.
Diseconomies of scale.
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question.
What type of returns to scale exist when a firm's long-run average cost curve is upward sloping?
Decreasing returns to scale.
That is correct.
We have a tie again, 4-4. Please read the next question.
Okay, question 10. We are joined again by Fed Chair Janet Yellen.
A new monetary policy tool was implemented in 2000.
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Term auction facility.
That is incorrect. Please play the question again.
A new monetary policy tool was implemented in 2008. Policymakers, in using the tool to slow spending growth in the economy, would either raise or lower the interest rate paid on what asset on the balance sheets of depository institutions.
You have 15 seconds.
Time is up. We need an answer.
Mortgage-backed securities.
That is incorrect. Let's hear Dr. Yellen's answer.
Policymakers would raise the interest rate paid on reserves to slow spending growth in the economy.
Score remains tied 4-4. Please read the next question.
Question 11. A change in the price of a good due to increases in the productivity of making the good will mean that consumers will react in a manner that the marginal utility of the good increases, stays the same, or decreases.
Carmel, you have 15 seconds.
Increase.
I'm sorry.
The marginal utility would increase.
Increase, that is incorrect.
You have 15 seconds.
Time is up. We need your answer.
Marginal utility stays the same.
That is incorrect. Decreases.
Score remains 4-4. Move on to question 12.
Question 12. What are the two taxes included in the Federal Insurance Contributions Act, FICA?
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Social Security and Medicare.
That is incorrect. Please carefully read the entire question.
What are the two taxes included in the Federal Insurance Contributions Act, FICA, and what % of income for most workers do they claim?
You have 15 seconds.
Social Security and Medicare, and 8%.
That is incorrect. It is Social Security and Medicare, and it accounts for about 15.3% of the income.
Score remains 4-4. Please read the next question.
Question 13. Compare prices and average costs of an unregulated natural monopoly to those...
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
The prices are higher and the average total costs are lower.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is
In
correct.
a natural monopoly, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, 1 point for Carmel. It is now 5 for Carmel, 4 for BELLAIRE. Please read the next question.
Do we read the whole question now after this? Is that what we do? Okay, Chris. So the question that he had no idea what he was answering, but answered correctly was...
I knew.
Whoa, that's better than I thought. Compare prices and average costs of an unregulated natural monopoly to those of a market with many small producers facing similar cost conditions. Answer still the same?
Yeah.
All right, good.
That's correct.
You can change it. You can change it.
Don't want to do that.
For what's behind door number 1. Okay, moving on now. Question 14. If the core consumer price index has increased at a faster rate than the consumer price index, what could have happened to food and...
BELLAIRE, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Food and energy prices was raised faster. They increased.
Repeat that.
Food and energy prices increased faster
Faster than
the rest of the items in the consumer
basket.
No, that's incorrect. Please read carefully the question again.
If the core consumer price index is increased at a faster rate than the consumer price index, what could have happened to food and energy prices?
You have 15 seconds.
They could have stayed the same or decreased.
That is correct. Or they could have increased more slowly than the other prices.
1 point for Carmel. It is now 6-4. Please read question 15.
What will happen to the amount sold in a market when an effective price ceiling, sorry,
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
The quantity sold will decrease.
That's incorrect. Please read the entire question.
what will happen to the amount sold in a market with an effective price ceiling if that ceiling in low, it's a typo here, I'm sorry. What will happen to the amount sold in a market with an effective price ceiling if that ceiling is lowered from $40 to $30?
You have 15 seconds.
Quantity sold decreases.
That is correct.
Score is now 6 for Carmel, 5 for Bellaire. Please read the next question.
Question 16. Quantity.
I have a question. She just said quantity decrease.
Yeah.
And
I had thought it was price that she said.
I said quantity.
Okay, what do we do?
That,
Ask him if he said
Okay.
I said quantity.
are you sure? Are we taking this?
Okay, so we'll throw out the question.
Okay, throwing out the question.
So
moving
we
on.
are reverting to 6-4 then.
Okay. Question 16. Quantitative easing places what type of pressure on the international value of the U.S. dollar?
Bellaire, you have 15 seconds.
The value would go down.
Yes, that's correct.
1 point for Bellaire. We are now Carmel 6, Bellaire 5.
Question 17. What type of good or resource has the traits of being non-excludable and
Bellaire, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Public good.
Incorrect.
what type of good or resource has the traits of being non-excludable and rival?
You have 15 seconds.
Common resources.
That is correct.
1 point for Carmel. We are now Carmel 7, Bellaire 5.
Question 18. According to the World Bank, U.S. GDP accounted for about 33% of all global economic activity in 2001. About what percent is it currently?
Carmel, you have 15 seconds.
25%.
That is correct.
1 point for Carmel. We are now Carmel 8, Bellaire 5. Please read the next question.
If the U.S. dollar appreciates with respect to the British pound, what will happen to the price of goods in the United States?
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Prices will decrease.
That is correct.
Another point for Carmel. It is now Carmel 9, Bellaire 5, with 11 questions remaining.
Question 20. Suppose a business has spent $10 million developing new software. Another business offers $15 million for the new software. If the company continues on with its own development, it will have to spend another $2 million. What would be the present value of future profits? What would the present value of future profits have to be for the original developers to make a rational decision?
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
$7 million.
Please state that again.
$7 million.
That is incorrect.
You have 15 seconds.
I don't have the full question here, but I may have it here. Hold on a second. The card kind of cuts off. It's question 20. Okay.
Go ahead and read it, please.
Suppose a business has spent $10 million developing new software. Another business offers $15 million for the new software. If the company continues on with its own development, it will have to spend another $2 million. What would the present value of future profits have to be for the original developers to make a rational decision to package and sell the software in the retail market?
You have 15 seconds.
We need an answer.
3 million.
That is incorrect. The answer is 17 million.
Question.
Score remains Carmel 9, BELLAIRE 5. Please read the next question.
Question 21. Which economist claimed that consumption is the sole end and purpose of...
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Veblen.
That is incorrect. Read the full question.
Which economist claimed that consumption is the sole end and purpose of all production?
You have 15 seconds.
Say.
Adam Smith, Wealth of Nations. That's incorrect.
So the score remains 9 for Carmel, 5 for BELLAIRE.
Question 22. Under what conditions is it difficult for monetary policy to have an effect on...
BELLAIRE, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Liquidity trap.
That is correct. Please read the entire question.
Under what conditions is it difficult for monetary policy to have an effect on the economy?
Score is now Carmel 9, BELLAIRE 6, with 8 questions remaining.
Competitive markets with external benefits are likely to produce too much...
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
We need an answer.
Not enough of the good?
That is correct. Please read the entire question.
Yeah, right. Competitive markets with external benefits are likely to produce too much or too little, or just the right amount for allocative efficiency. All right, what am I thinking right now? Come on.
You're thinking that the score is Carmel 10 and BELLAIRE is 6.
Chris, you're good at these guys. Okay. Question 24. Credit default swaps provided insurance for the purchase of many subprime loans. How do economists label the resulting behavior of the buyers of these high-risk...
BELLAIRE, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Moral hazard.
That is correct. That's how they label the resulting behavior of the buyers with these high-risk loans.
Score is now Carmel 10, BELLAIRE 7, with 6 questions remaining.
25. What is unique about long-run supply?
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Is vertical.
That is incorrect. Please read the entire question.
What is unique about long-run supply of a decreasing cost-competitive industry?
You have 15 seconds.
Downward sloping.
That is correct.
Okay, we now have Carmel 10, BELLAIRE slowly creeping back with 8 on to question 26.
Tension's building here. A little shift in momentum. Let's see how we go to the finish here. Question 26. Identify one way in which the U.S. economy finances its trade deficits.
BELLAIRE, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Just like exporting.
That is incorrect.
Full question. Identify one way in which the U.S. economy finances its trade deficits.
Borrowing.
That is correct.
Okay, the score is now 11-8. There are 4 questions remaining.
Question 27. Consider a market in equilibrium with linear supply and demand curves and a price elasticity of demand equal to 1. If the cost of production decreases, what is a plausible new price elasticity of demand in equilibrium?
Bel-Aire, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Less than 1.
That is correct.
Score is now 11 Carmel, 9 Bel-Aire, with 3 questions remaining.
What label is given to the Fed policy when the Fed pledges to use monetary policy to maintain a
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Contractionary?
That is incorrect. Could you repeat
Full
the
question. What label is given to the Fed policy when the Fed pledges to use monetary policy to maintain a stated rate of price increases?
You have 15 seconds.
Time is up. We need an answer.
Maintaining a targeted rate of price increases.
The label is inflation targeting. We'll accept that answer.
Score is now 11 for Carmel, 10 for Bel-Aire, with 2 questions remaining.
Question 29. A decrease in input prices will cause a firm's average total cost at all levels of output to change.
Carmel, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Decrease?
That is incorrect.
Full question. A decrease in input prices will cause a firm's average total cost at all levels of output to change. What else will cause the average total cost to change in the same direction?
You have 15 seconds.
Increase in productivity.
That is correct.
And once again, we are tied with 1 question remaining. It is 11-11.
So I'm not going to get to ask my bonus question about their favorite economics.
We'll see.
Okay. Question 30. Who's your favorite economics reporter? Here we go. Of the components of GDP, which is the most important for long-run economic growth?
Bel-Aire, you have 5 seconds and may not confer.
Investment?
That is correct.
Congratulations, Bel-Aire. You are the national champions of the Adam Smith Division in 2014.
Wow. Okay. Let's have another round of applause for our winners, Bel-Aire. And please keep clapping to congratulate our tough, tough competitors from Carmel High School. And one more round of applause for all the teams who competed, both here in New York and around the country. Susan.
So intense, down to the final question yet again. In just a moment, we'll be handing out the coveted trophies, and we'll get to speak to the winners of the Adam Smith Division Champs from Bel-Aire, Texas. A way to come from behind in a very tough fought competition. You know, you forget how difficult it is even to make this trip to New York City. There were more than 10,000 students who competed cross-country to be part of the National Economics Challenge. What are they studying? They're studying everything from stock market prices to the housing market, international currencies, as you heard, economists from Adam Smith, Karl Marx. They had questions from Janet Yellen. Lots of current events that the students were quizzed on. In fact, a lot of the students in their preparation said that was probably the most nervous aspect of the competition, just trying to figure out what exactly they would need to know. And it seems like they did all right. Now, let's go to the trophies and throw it back to Nan.
Great. Thanks so much, Susan.
Congratulations. Great job.
We're congratulating our runner-up team from in the David Ricardo division from Little Falls. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Everybody, look at Sandra.
Little Falls, Minnesota is actually a two-time defending champs, and the coach, Tom, has brought his team here quite a bit of times. He says, how does he motivate his students to take part in the National Economics Challenge? New York City. The thought of coming to New York City. Jessica loves to run, play tennis, bake, and eat. Vanessa says she likes to water ski and also to bake. And a lot of the students say on the team said that they like to study economics because it makes them figure out what they need to know in just basic budgets.
Second place winners in the Adam Smith division. You got that?
Carmel High School, Indiana, has been here before. There were 11 teams overall that have taken part in the National Economics Challenge. Pretty darn good. William loves to play cello and likes to write. Joseph said he's been infatuated with economics since his mom explained the financial crisis of a few years ago. And Zach says he's going to attend Purdue University. We're not sure if he's going to study economics there, but we know that he could if he wanted to.
And congratulations to our first place winner in the David Ricardo division from the hometown team from Montgomery College High School.
You know, the coach here, Barbara, says that this team was self-motivated. In fact, she says that it was students themselves who asked if they could compete in the National Economics Challenge. Douglas says he likes to play the stock market game. That's actually what prepared him for basic economic concepts, and says he tries to read the Wall Street Journal every day.
Congratulations to our winning team in the Adam Smith division, first place. Smush. Okay.
Okay, so
Wait, stay there.
don't leave because we have some questions. Congratulations, BELLAIRE. That was amazing. Did you guys get nervous and think, oh boy, we've got quite an uphill battle?
At several
times.
Yeah, several times. If you had a do-over for one single question, what might it be?
I wouldn't have gotten that question wrong. I've blocked out my memory.
Whichever one you got wrong.
Whichever one I got wrong.
Well, isn't it difficult preparing for something like this? I mean, how do you sort of gauge what you might be asked?
Well, I mean, since there's not like a set topic of, list of topics, we really just have to cover as much as we can in the time we're given. And so we have practices almost every week. And thanks to Mr. Clark.
Coach, you've been here before. How many times have you been here before?
9 times. This is my first win, so I think I'm going to go out on top.
While you have hair on top of your head. Okay, how did it feel to have the chair of the Federal Reserve ask you some questions?
I thought it was really, really special. It's like directed towards us, and she paid special attention to our group, so it's really nice.
And she spoke really slowly, right? Well, congratulations, BELLAIRE. Did you have a final thought, Coach?
I would just like to give a shout out to my role model and mentor who's also retiring this year, Colonel Rankin from Yolani School. He's been a great role model,
well.
and he's the one that really got me going in this competition.
Yeah, and a very, very vigorous contestant. Well done. Nan, throw it to you.
Well, I want to thank all of the students, all 10,500 of you who competed across the country this year. And in particular, of course, all of our finalist teams who joined us here in New York this weekend, our runner-ups and our winners. It's been a great competition. These were really hard questions. I hope to see some of the sophomores and juniors here next year. If you're watching in your class today, get your teachers to get you to get a team. And I hope I'll see you next year. And very, very good luck to all of our graduating seniors in their future endeavors, whether they study economics or something else. I know this will serve you well. So thanks again for coming and for great competition, and we'll see you all next year.
Education has stayed true to an enduring mission, delivering economic education and financial literacy to K-12 students by educating the educators. 55,000 in 2012. With a broad national reach, the Council continues to set and encourage standards and requirements, plus provide hands-on learning resources, curriculum integration support, professional development, and assessment. They do this through ambitious national and state programs carried out by affiliates in every state. In Illinois, one such program is an excellent example of the breadth and impact of the Council's work. It started last year in the Chicago Public Schools, a vast and complex district of well over 100 schools. It was a unique partnership between public schools, private backing, and the Council for Economic Education. Together, they devised an ambitious plan to develop a course for high school seniors in personal finance.
Unless we have it embedded in the curriculum, we can't be sure that the people who need it will get it.
The key to its success? Great content and professional development. With the support of CEE affiliates in Illinois, economics PhD Helen Roberts led the initiative to properly train the teachers.
They started the course with that deer-in-the-headlights look. But at the end of the training, they feel empowered to teach the economics in the course.
I really enjoyed Helen being so knowledgeable, but also so kind of revved up and excited. It makes it so much easier.
The curriculum itself had to be relevant enough to engage the students, but had to be assembled quickly. Fortunately, CEE's resources fit the bill perfectly.
It's very important for students to connect with what they're learning. CEE, Council for Economic Education, has published several curriculum that pull these lessons together, some of the best, and we took from them.
Interactive content such as Gen I, the Council's free online game for financial learning, also helped to engage students.
The way that it's put together, they're able to feel like it's within their grasp and they're interested in trying it out.
That's the thing that helped me learn the most because we worked together, so it wasn't just like we sat there, looked at a book, read everything, answered questions.
Anything that makes students want to take a class is something that we really want to encourage.
I feel accomplished now that I actually use the class for a real life experience.
Students' knowledge and confidence increased in the pilot program, and the teachers want more.
We had students that represented themselves well, speak eloquently about financial literacy, which is all the endorsement that we need.
The program is on track to double the number of schools it reaches each year and spread to all 106 of Chicago's high schools in just 3 years.
It's actually doing what's right for students.
This is just one program. The Council for Economic Education continues to review and refresh its programs and activities to meet the evolving needs of our nation's teachers and students. Democracy will live if it works. Regardless of what democracy may do in the cultural and human relations area, if it fails on the economic front, it will most certainly go down in defeat. There is no kind of education more important than that which seeks to make the average American intelligent about our economic system and effective as a citizen in relation to it. Ernest O. Melby, Dean of the NYU School of Economics.
Our mission endures today and for the future, ensuring that America's children have the knowledge and skill to always find opportunity on our horizon line.